welcome to Speak and Flow podcast. I am so glad you're here. Today, we're going to talk about descriptive storytelling, how to use our multisensory effect in your stories. You can use visuals, you can use sound, you can use smell, you can use touch, and all of these senses will add a depth and richness into your stories. If you didn't catch the last episode, I talked about how to use sight and sound, including those into your story, how to do it effectively. And today, we're going to focus in and hone in on scent and smell, right? How to do that in a way that evokes an emotion, that evokes memories. Like when I talk about these things, you're going to start to feel something. You're going to start to have these memories of things. And so how cool is that when you can do that within your audience? This helps bring your message home. This helps increase your influence. And then it inspires people to act, to think differently, to behave differently. And in this world, in this chaotic time, we want more leaders like you to inspire people to act more positively. And so let's dive in. How do we bring in the sense of scent, smell into our stories? I'm going to just demonstrate with a story right now. As I walked into the conference room, I can smell the freshly brewed coffee in the air. I look down at the big, long conference table, the cleanliness of the freshly polished table. I sat down in the chair, the vinyl chair, plastic. I looked at my manager and she gazed back at me and she said, "We're not doing it that way, Melinda." I immediately tensed up. I wanted to blurt back at her, but at that time I was tired because we had already been in previous meetings talking over each other, going in circles, not getting anywhere. So I threw my hands up in the air and I decided to go back to reflect. Think back at all the conversations that we were having, or not conversations, more like arguments and going in circles, and how it made me feel, it made other people feel. It was so uncomfortable. At that time, I'd already been at that company 20 years. I knew what I was talking about. She didn't. She just got here. And so I was determined to have it my way. But then what happened is nobody heard each other. She didn't hear me. I didn't hear her. And we just didn't get anywhere. And I didn't want to be that leader anymore. I made a decision that was not how I wanted to show up as a leader. It made me uncomfortable. It made other people uncomfortable in the room. And so I decided to let her make that decision. Or she was going to make the decision anyways, but I decided to support her on that journey. And we continued the project. And what I realized is we finally were able to move on as a team. We're able to move forward in the initiative. And she ended up allowing me to lead parts of the project in ways that I didn't expect. And so I developed new leadership skills. The team was able to move forward and the whole company was satisfied. And so there was a bigger mission, a bigger purpose in this. And I discovered more than I realized. I discovered more than I expected. And I believe that was what I learned. And I also want to encourage you to communicate that way. To sometimes we have to let go of what we initially want to discover more of what we could not foresee or expect. So there in this story, I included the scent, the smell, the sense of smell into the story from the beginning. I went straight into the story and described the scene. And remember, I used the freshly brewed coffee so that could create some memories within you. And you can almost smell it. And the freshly polished table, the cleanliness of the freshly polished table. And so those type of descriptive words evoke memories, evoke emotion. I could also add, I just remembered, like you could also tie scents, like smell, to characters. When I think about my grandmother, who's no longer, bless her heart, is still with us, she always smelled like mothballs. If you don't know what mothballs are, they are used to, they usually put into closets or cabinets where they're closed to defer or to make the moths, like to eliminate the moths or to make them go away, because they have this such a strong scent. And because it has such a strong scent, it actually it goes into the clothes. And then I could smell it always on my grandmother. Every time I hugged her, I could smell the scent of mothballs. So you can tie scent into memories, evoking memories, evoking emotion. Even though the scent of mothballs was so strong, but it also helped me to remember my grandmother, the warmth of my grandmother. And so it's tying in emotion, it's tying in a character. And so using the scent of smell can have that effect and increase the richness of your story. And notice how I also use that story to tie in to a message to hopefully inspire you to act, to inspire you to think differently. If you're in an argument that is going in circles and nobody is listening to each other, potentially what you could do, how you can reflect on your behavior, and what could be the possible best next steps for you. So I use that story to engage with you and also tie in a message at the end of what I would hope to inspire you to be, to behave, and to think. And that is how you could use the sense of smell in your stories to add that depth and also hone in a message that engages the audience and also increases your influence as a leader, as a communicator, and as a storyteller. And in my next episode, we are going to tie in touch. How do we bring in touch into your stories to add even more depth and richness? I hope to see you. I can't wait for you to join me again. Until next time, I am your sister in speaking in flow. And when you're in flow, prosperity, health, happiness comes to you because you know that it's all around you. So continue to embark on this journey with me. Take care. Thanks for joining the conversation today. Are you curious on how you measure up with your ability to speak in flow? Come grab my free self-assessment at https://speakinflow.com/assessment. And I'll see you on the other side.